it's Thursday, so it's time for today's Mark Teixeira Report, brought to you by Prestige Motors on Route 17 in Paramus and PC Richard and Son.
Mark from Severna Park.
How you doing?
Mark from Severna Park is in. What's up, guys?
Do you, well, I've always wanted to ask you this. You, on one of the more famous Subway Series plays, the drop pop-up by Luis Castillo, you scored. Most people would have been jogging. You had to run hard to score. What were you doing there? Why were you doing that?
You know what? I always kind of just ran hard no matter what when I was a kid. And a coach in the minor leagues told me, like, hey, Tex, I know you're a prospect and whatever, but I appreciate you running hard. And that stuck with me. And so even in the big leagues, as long as I was physically capable of running my best and running my hardest, I was going to do it. And the once or twice in my career that it actually made a difference, you know, that Subway Series pop-up was one of them. Does it make
you angry when players don't run hard? Because there are a lot that don't.
It doesn't make me angry, but I wish they would. You know, it doesn't cost anything to run hard. It doesn't cost anything to concentrate. It doesn't cost anything to work hard and you know, just do your job. And so for me, when guys are jogging around the bases or jogging down first baseline after a ground ball, it just doesn't look good. I don't like the way that the message it sends to kids. And I figure, like, listen, even if you're at 90%, it's better than 50%, which is what some of the guys are doing these days.
Mark, I want to go back to a couple of days ago. There was a situation late in the game. It was the last game at the stadium where Terry Collins pinched hit for Dominic Smith. And Michael made the point, you know, Dominic Smith facing Chapman, 45,000 people in the building. Terry missed an opportunity for a young kid to experience a moment to find out where he stands, and Terry managed it straight up. He went with Reyes to pinch hit, and he tried to go out and win the game at maybe the expense of having a growing player learn something. How do you stand on that? Would you have a problem with Terry trying to win the game at the expense of a young kid growing, or would you understand as a veteran if he left him in there and the excuse would be, hey, I just want the kid to grow in this moment, maybe at the expense of the game?
Dominic Smith should have been hitting there, flat out. The Mets are not going anywhere this year. They're not going to the playoffs. I'm sorry, Mets fans. Love you guys, but you're not going anywhere this year. You have to allow your young players to fail or succeed at this point in the season. These are free at-bats. This, to me, if you're the Mets or any team that's out of the race right now, this is an investment into your future. And you make that investment with Dominic Smith against Chapman there. You allow him to either fail or succeed, and you win or lose with your young guy. If he's going to be an everyday player, he's going to be an all-star type player, which the Mets would hope that he blossoms into someday. He's going to have to take those at-bats eventually.
If you want to talk to Mark, please give us a call right now, 1-800-919-3776, 1-800-919-3776. You could ask Mark directly a question, and we also have some text messages that we'll give to Mark as well. Mark, I'm sure you saw the home run by Judge yesterday. You've been in this ballpark. You saw where it landed. What's your thoughts?
Oh, my God. We talk about this every week, right? I mean, that ball is, you shouldn't be able to hit it up there. Like, every time Aaron Judge hits a ball, we go, that's the furthest a ball can go. I can't believe he hit the ball that far. And he made Citi Field look small, which is very difficult to do. I mean, the first time, and I know they've brought the fences in, it didn't matter. That ball was gone no matter where the fences were. He continues to amaze us. He's fun to watch. I don't care that he's striking out. Forget about the record. He is just a joy to watch play.
One thing that does concern the Yankees right now, and that's Chapman. He struggled just a bit. You do have alternatives, Mark. Betances can close. Robertson can close. Do you think that Chapman is in jeopardy of losing his job?
I think he is, but not just yet. I mean, I think they have to talk to him. You know, first of all, is he healthy? If he's healthy, check that box. Second of all, okay, well, if you're healthy, then what is it? Hey, you know what? You know, my mechanics are off, blah, blah, blah. Fix your mechanics. If he's healthy and he gets his mechanics fixed and he keeps getting hit, then you replace him because he's just not doing the job. You know, you have David Robertson, who's closed a bunch of games, high leverage games in the past. You have Betances, who can definitely close games. He's been just really hot the last couple weeks. Looked really good. They have alternatives. It's not, hey, we're living and dying with Chapman no matter what. I give Joe credit for not making a snap decision and taking him out. But at a certain point in time, you've got to tell Chapman, hey, you either get the job done or we're going to move you down and bring someone up the can.
Now, Hal Steinbrenner said yesterday at the owners' get-together in Chicago, and I couldn't agree with him more. He said if we don't make the playoffs, it's a disappointment. Now, the Yankees always sell that anyway. They always want to make the playoffs. But this year, Mark, with the trades they made, I think you have to recalibrate your thoughts that you had in spring training. These trades were made for them to, at least, I think, to win the American League East. But let's put that aside. I think if they don't make the playoffs, it's a colossal fail if they don't do it.
Yes, colossal. I mean, you look at this team, top to bottom, and there is a ton of talent. I mean, you look at the strides that Aaron Hicks has made. You look at the strides that Judge has made. You look at Gary Sanchez is back to being Gary Sanchez behind the plate. Heck, if Greg Bird comes back and is, a nice left-handed bat, he's going to make the offense better. You got Castro coming back. He's going to be healthy. Didi Gregorius, we don't talk about him enough. He might be the MVP of the team. Let's not forget how great of a shortstop he is as well. But he's been the most consistent guy in the lineup the entire season. So this team, top to bottom, has tons of talent, has tons of upside, and I would be very disappointed. Listen, they're going to make the playoffs. I'm going to make a bold statement. They're going to make the playoffs. If they don't make it to the second round, if they don't make it past the wild card game, I would be very disappointed, and I think that is a failure if you don't get to what I call the real playoffs, and that's a division series.
And as much as we love the one game, and I know it's difficult to go to a best of three because they want to try to devalue the wild card and want you to win the division, but the problem, Mark, and I am with you, that the disappointment comes in having to settle for the wild card. But you know better than anybody, Mark, that one game, I mean, one day, the Philadelphia Phillies can beat the Dodgers. It's baseball, right? It's just one game.
Yep.
So really the failure to me is having to settle for the wild card, not necessarily losing that wild card game. Is that fair?
That's very fair. As players hate the wild card if you're the first wild card. Because in the old system, you could win the World Series as a wild card because you're in, you're at least getting those 5 games. You feel good. You can kind of set up your rotation, get through that first round and kind of keep moving. Now, if you're the second wild card, you're just like, hey, this is a freebie for me. I wasn't in before. I didn't even have a chance before. Now I have a chance. That first wild card team's like, you got to be kidding me. I just played in the tough division all year long, maybe won 94 games. And I got to play the second team who happens to have an ace and could beat me, just as easy as, as us beating them in that first game. So as a player, I didn't like the wild card. As a fan, I think it's great. I think that's why Major League Baseball looks at it from a fan's perspective and says it makes for great second half baseball. It keeps a lot more teams in it. And that one game play-in is really exciting.
Let's go to the phones for Mark. Jason in Long Island. Jason, you're on with Mark Teixeira.
Hey, how's it going, Mark?
I'm great, Jason. You?
Good. Aaron Judge, no doubt about it, has been in a slump in the second half, and it appears he's getting out of it. My question is, what's the longest slump you've been in, and how'd you get out of it?
Ooh, longest slump I've been. So the longest healthy slump I was ever in was in 2006. I was coming off an amazing season the year before, and the entire first half of the season, I just stunk. I hit 9 home runs, not a lot of power, couldn't drive the ball. And during the All-Star break, I went to a bunch of physical therapists and just spent 4 days on my body, getting refreshed, getting energized. And I came back with a little pep in my step and hit 3 home runs the very first day after the All-Star break. And so sometimes all it takes is 3 or 4 days off, where I truly believe if you take 3 or 4 days off, just work on your body, get your energy back, get your focus back. It's a mental and physical break. I think those can be great for slumps. And, no matter who it is, you need something to get you out of that slump, to snap you out of it.
Here's a text message, Mark. Do you think the massive increase of home runs and strikeouts hurts or helps interest in baseball? That's from Alex from Long Island.
I think it probably helps just the excitement of the game, but I think it hurts in the time of game. I just read something where games are 5 minutes longer this year than they were last year. And, every time a pitcher goes up there trying to strike somebody out, he's gonna throw more pitches, and more pitches create, longer at-bats and create longer games. So I think it's kind of a catch-22 when you look at the advantages of the excitement and the disadvantages of the longer games.
Here is Matt in Rutherford. Matt, you're on with Mark.
Hey, Tex. How's it going?
I'm great, Matt. You?
I'm good. I'm a pretty big Mets fan, so I'm disappointed in you guys bringing up that pop-up. I didn't do that today, but I appreciate it. But my question was, I'm a big Entourage fan, and I was wondering, as a non-actor, as an athlete, how many takes did it take you to do that one scene?
I've done a couple different cameos and commercials and stuff, and those things take forever. And it's not because you mess up your lines. It's because you say your lines so many different times in so many different ways, and they also have different angles of the camera. And, the editors just, they go through, an hour of film for a 3-minute scene. So it took probably 2 or 3 hours to shoot. But then, we had an hour of actual, film for a 3-minute scene. It's kind of funny.
I've got to be honest, because probably my favorite show on TV is Billions, and your cameo there made me jealous. Because, why can't they throw a Yankee announcer in there?
And now you'll probably beg your way on.
I will beg. I follow Brian Koppelman on Twitter. He follows me. I want to be on. I think it's only fair.
But the Yankee thing already happened.
No, but it's based in New York. He could actually do a deal with a Yankee announcer, right?
You know what we should do? So David Lemine is a good friend of mine, one of the writers. That's how I got on the first time. So I have dinner with David every couple months. So I'm going to tell him that in the next season, Axe needs to make a run at buying the Yankees.
Right now we're talking.
And then you're going to Michael Kay is going to have him on the show. And you're going to interview him of why he deserves to buy the
Mark, while we're at it, can you also write in a scene, or at least maybe an episode or two, where Kay's co-host has an affair with Giamatti's wife? My wife would be fine with it. I would like that.
Because it's only acting.
It's acting.
Yeah.
It's acting.
That's so good.
Let's go.
Hey, my question is, when does Don get his own reality show, and all he gets to do is rant for a half hour?
What, you want to see a man? You want to see a man die during a reality show? Is what you're saying?
Mark, Mark got to see firsthand a rant on my golf rant. You were a little taken aback that things like that actually happen, right?
Snooty little pieces of garbage.
I thought they were well overblown. I didn't think that they would be that bad. I got to see it firsthand. I actually saw Don prance around the studio because he was making fun of golfers, and everything that has to do with the British Open.
Golf is garbage. Strong.
Let's go to Nick in
the Open, by the way.
Nick in Bayshore. What's up, Nick?
I'm doing good. How you
Good,
doing? How's it going, Tex?
Good.
I've been hearing, we're all expecting Greg Bird to come back soon, and I hope he can be a good power bat. I hear talk about his defense. Any chance you can get down there and work with him? Considering you were
if the Yankees asked me, that's probably the one thing I would go back to help out. I'd help out guys at first base for fun. So listen, whether it's in spring training or during the season, I'm 45 minutes away. I'm always happy to help out ex-teammates and friends of mine.
I will tell you this, Mark, and this is a serious question. I love Greg Bird as a hitter. He's a below-average first baseman. Can somebody like that become more than proficient at first base with work, or do you have to be born with those skills?
Yes, you can get better. I learned on the job. Most people don't remember. I was a third baseman coming up. I made my major league debut as a third baseman, and I got switched over to first just because Hank Blaylock was on our team in Texas, and he was a better third baseman than me. So, it took me probably 2 years to really get good at first base. It's not an easy position to play well. It's an easy position to play. I mean, you can literally throw anybody over there, tell them, stand on this base and catch the ball when it comes to you. But to play first base well, it does take work. You do have to look at things a little bit differently. And I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed working at first. And, I think that Birdie can be a good first baseman. Will he be a Gold Glover? That's tough to say, but I think he can be proficient.
All right,
yes.
This is a random question, but I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine who played D3 baseball, played at Brandeis, and we were talking about baseball and how difficult the game is. And I said another really underrated thing among the many underrated things about how difficult baseball is that when you play in high school, most places in the country, you're playing with aluminum bats. When did you start making the transition to using a wooden bat? Because I don't think the average person would know, if you play a lot of baseball, how difficult it is to pick up a wooden bat and start hitting.
Yeah, that's a great question. So my senior year of high school, somebody gave me a wooden bat to use in the cage. I'd use it in the cage, and I'd take batting practice with my high school team sometimes. And then after my senior year, I played in a wooden bat college league. So I was after my senior year, I was playing with freshmen and sophomore in college, and that's when I really started getting good with the wood bat. I went to Cape Cod after my freshman year, but for me, it was always anytime I was taking batting practice in college, I was using the wood bat.
Because you already knew at that point there's a very good chance you're playing in the big leagues?
Yes. Yeah. I looked at my game and I said, well, my game can't get any better with an aluminum bat. Literally, I mean, it's not as tough. It's not as fun to play with an aluminum bat in batting practice anymore. So let me challenge myself with a wood bat. Try to hit home runs with a wood bat. Try to square that ball up a little bit more. And it also makes you stronger because it's a heavier bat. And I think it was great for my development to put that wood bat in my hand.
I just find that hilarious. As anyone who played like perfunctory or as I did bad high school baseball, how difficult it would be. But, hitting's not hard enough. Give me the wooden bat. Let me see if I can put something on.
That's why Mark's great. You're not.
No, that is a good point. He's considerably better at baseball than you.
But he's going to hit me up with Maggie Siff, so that's all I need to know.
Oh, that's what her name is? Yeah. I need to remember that from now on. Maggie Siff. I love her. She might be my pass.
And by the way, she is a sweetheart. She is as nice as she is talented.
Yeah, but Peter's hoping she's a little evil.
I think if we really asked her, we could put that line in for you, Peter. We could put
Teixeira, the text man.
That storyline.
Have a good weekend, Mark. Thanks again.
Thanks, Mark.